Today I want to talk about pain and how I cope with hard times. Unfortunately, as much as we like to try to be positive in life, there are so many things that can happen to us that can be painful and can really hurt and really change us for the rest of our lives and scar us. But sometimes we have to take those things as lessons and move on. Sometimes we have to take those things as lessons that we may have had to teach somebody else. Like if you had a bad breakup, maybe you were that lesson to that person when they moved forward in their life. Or maybe they were that lesson to you. Or maybe both. Sometimes there may even be times where someone really hurts you and you may feel like they either tried to hurt you on purpose or maybe they didn't. Maybe it wasn't their intention. Ways that I try to deal with pain from other people is I try to remember that that person is a human being. They may not always intend to try to hurt you. Human beings are flawed. They're not perfect. So they're not always going to do things the right way. Human beings also have things that they go through that cause them to be the way that they are. Does it make it right when they hurt you? Nah. But it should make you understand them just a little bit more and try to have a little bit of empathy for them instead of sending hate or pain right back to them. I believe that a lot of us should operate in love a lot more than we do in hate. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people on this earth that don't know how to do that. I myself am still learning how to do that. Sometimes you can fix things like this with just a simple talk, a conversation, and talk it out. Or sometimes you just may have to remove yourself from the situation and let it air out a little bit. When I choose to think of what that person may be going through or a reason why that person acts the way they act, then it helps me try to be a little more understanding instead of mad or angry with them because they hurt me. When you only think about yourself and what somebody did to you, that comes usually from a selfish place. But when you think about what that person does and concentrate on what that person is going through, then that usually is coming from a place of love, like it should. I mean, think about it. How many times have you been going through something and then you kind of lash out on the person you love, unintentionally sometimes? How would you feel if they just chose to lash back out at you instead of thinking, this person is going through something, let me calm down and figure out what's going on with them? Isn't that how you wish they would handle it? If you have one person lashing out and you have one person lashing back, then you just got two people just lashing out at each other, just beefing. And that's just a big waste of time. If that relationship that you had, whether it was a friendship or a intimate relationship, if it was worth having, if it was something that you love and it wasn't negative, something that you needed to get rid of, do you feel like it was worth lashing out at that person now that that's gone, just so you could be right? Think about that. People are not always going to hear what you have to say. People are not always going to accept what you have to say. So then you have to be prepared to not only have that person not hear you and not accept you, but you also have to be prepared to love them anyway for it. Now don't get me wrong, we still get a little upset sometimes, no matter what. I know I do. I can go from 0 to 600 like that. However, as I said before, they are only human and so am I. We all have tempers, we all have our little buttons that don't need to be pushed. But if we can try as much as we can to remember that that person is a human being and therefore not perfection, and also remember that that person is possibly having issues emotionally also, then maybe that's something we can think about to keep ourselves calm, at least before you blow off the handle. Sleep on it, think about it, pray on it, come back to the situation later and let them know, hey, this is my issues. This is what I have on the table. This is what you seem to have on the table. How do we deal with what's there? Also, try not to feel like that person owes you anything. One way that I try to look at things is everybody doesn't always owe you something. In my eyes, the only people that owe me anything are my children. Because I've taken care of them, I've raised them, I've loved them unconditionally, and I would do anything for them. Stop feeling like somebody owes you something. That includes gifts, that includes money, that includes respect, that includes love. All of those things are things that are given to you if they choose, not because you said so. I guess I look at things that way because even if you have a best friend, friendships change sometimes. Sometimes friendships grow apart, and they don't owe you being that friend forever. It may hurt if that friendship ends, but they don't owe you that. They were there for their season, and that season is over. Even in marriage, yes, you have a certain respect for your wife or your husband, but even that can change if that person no longer feels the same way anymore. You may feel like they owe you to stay in that relationship, when actually they don't. No matter what promises were made, and no matter how much that person loved you in the past, if they no longer have those feelings, then they should be free to go. They're human beings after all. Flawed, not perfect. Is it hurtful? Yes. Does it suck? Hell yes. But again, the lessons of life. It's just how life is. Now I want to talk about hard times. Right now I'm going through a hard time in my personal life. I seem to be going through a lot right now. What is up with that? Lord, I can say personally for myself, the first thing that I do is I pray. I pray anyway, whether I'm having a good time or a hard time, but especially in a hard time, the first thing I do is I pray. That's the first thing I do, because I cannot do anything without His help. Again, I am just a mere human being. Once I pray, I get all my ducks in a row, I figure out what I can figure out, do whatever I can as the being that I am on this earth, and I leave the rest to God. Sometimes it's really hard to leave the rest to God because you're still worried, like, okay, what am I going to do? But if you continue to worry, then you're not really giving Him a chance to fix it, now are you? You're not really putting that faith up there, now are you? And no, it's not some magic trick that you should just expect to happen all the time. Sometimes hard times can be a lesson too. Sometimes His answer is no, but you have to be ready to deal with that also. Lessons in life. I mean, think about all the things that could possibly happen in your life. You're bound to have tons of hard times and pain. How are you going to choose to deal with them? You're going to get mad each and every time? That doesn't sound like a very fun life. Or are you going to choose to try to walk in love, and instead of losing your mind every time a hard situation comes toward you, choose to do what you can and let your belief system go to work. Sometimes we're going to have failures as well as success. Sometimes we're going to have pain as well as good times. That's what life is all about. And another thing, when you say that you're giving it to God, give it to God. That doesn't mean that you keep talking about it as if it's still a problem. Somebody asks you, hey, what are you going to do about that problem? I'm giving it to God, and that's how I'm going to handle it. I did what I could do as a human being here on this earth, and the rest I'm letting Him handle it. And leave it at that. That's what believing and having faith is. So stop worrying, stop stressing, do what you can, give it to God, and let it be. At the end of the day, you will be all right. If it's a lesson that you need to learn, and you should thank Him for that. And if you're somebody else's lesson to learn, then thank Him for letting you be the teacher. Either way, you can look at it in a positive way no matter what. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, comment below. Let me know what you think. Also, let me know how you choose to deal with pain and hard times. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video. It might help somebody else. You know those little like and subscribe buttons down there? Down there? Click them. Peace and blessings, y'all.